douglAR Politics, special edition, Thursday, this Thursday. All you ever hear douglAR Politics on Thursday? Must be plenty thing to talk. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, 7:30 live from Tunapuna, douglAR Politics. Faris, how much Porsche you have, boy? Rowley, how much more deputy? Deputy essential? douglAR Politics. Log on, 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night, special edition. Email gate, Israeli, Pegasus, baby Pegasus. Rowley, you gain it whole day, Rowley. Email gate. douglAR Politics. If you want to hear it tomorrow, make some noise. douglAR Politics, Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. live.
douglAR Politics, this is douglAR Politics, yo. douglAR Politics, listen, douglAR Politics, yeah. douglAR Politics, this is douglAR Politics, yeah. douglAR Politics, this is douglAR Politics. douglAR Politics, this is douglAR Politics, yo. douglAR Politics.
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics live from Tunapuna, where the UNC, as usual, is working with Senator David Naked, DPL, Jolene John, Marsha Walker, the entire Northeast, from Sawan, St. Joseph, Tunapuna, Lauketa, Talparo, Aruka, Maloney, Tokosang, Grandi, Kumuto, Mantanilla, straight up the road. The UNC is going to sweep into government with hard work, intelligent policy, and people who care. Good evening and welcome to Thursday night. All you can make a little noise. Some of them still here. Hey! All you make the noise, man. Some of my UNC soldiers still here to take on the douglAR Politics. All you ever hear douglAR Politics on Thursday, they call for it and we bring it one time. Imagine the Express is trying to make excuses for the PNM. Their neglect of a world champion, Claude Noel. The Express says Noel video a year old, as if that makes it better or worse. From what the nephew said, the amputation of the leg recently occurred. But let's take Express position as truth. So the video is a year old. So the PNM has left a world champion national hero from Tobago in a state of total neglect for over a year. Express, if it's a year old, how come the ministry only now respond 3 days ago? How come they now talking? How come they now caring? If it's a year ago, you are showing how heartless and disrespectful the PNM is. Because this man fought for the red, white, and black. He did more, put more heart and soul, effort, put his life on the line, more than the Minister of Bundles, who only put in she marriage on the line to stay in the cabinet, more than Rowley, who only put in Noel Garcia there to take all your money and spend it as he feels, more than Stuart Smallpin Young, who only come into politics for himself, his father, and his brother, the three musketeers of Smallpin, to make money. That man put blood, sweat, and tears for red, white, and black, and we have to watch a video, whether a year ago, last week, or right now, of him crying out for help. PNM, you all are disrespectful, you all are heartless, and you care not. But thank the Lord for the UNC and for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Because when Claude Noel was around, when Kamala was Prime Minister, he used to get a work, $5,000 a month to be an advisor and a mentor from the boxing board. Because the policies of the UNC deal with people. The UNC had a pension plan for all athletes that was in train over and above their national pension and NIS for all of those who serve their country in different tiers. So if you are a world record holder, world champion, Olympic medalist, you will get X amount of thousand once you pass 60, over and above whatever you were entitled to in other programs. But because you had done your duty and put so much effort, the UNC is going to take care of you as you get older. The PNM take away that. pelt it away. They don't care. And the tears of Claude Noel are the tears of our nation, crying out for a change from the heartlessness of the PNM. Sewer problem making pupils ill. If it's not concrete busting children's head, if it's not rat infestation, it's pigeon and cockroach. If it's not fight and stab, it's tables and louvers being mashed up. If it's not flooding, it's no toilet. The school's in a mess all around, and all we could see is a different bundle after bundle going into Parliament and taking picture. The Ministry of Education is run by a woman who wished she was a model. They're showing gaps all over the place, gaps in education, gaps in funding. Children have to pay and bring their own toilet paper to Providence and to other schools, while this lady changes bundle after bundle each week. How much a bundle costs? Why you don't ask that on the TV 6 meter? Sewer problem making pupils ill. St. Joseph's Girls RC. Concerned parents of pupils of the St. Joseph Girls RC School are calling on the Minister of Education. All you don't call on she, unless you're going to fill gaps. The biggest gap is the gap in the middle of her teeth, because she does not care about the children. So don't call on her. She cares about herself. Trauma for... You know, crime is the worst ever. But we are becoming numb, you know. A little baby girl, 6, 7, 8, 9, gets shot in the center of her chest and is dead. And we just pass that off. Nobody even protest. Nobody light no candle, no outrage. Children go on to play football on a football field, get shot and killed, shot in the leg, bullets flying past their head. But this one, children, we saw a video, children lying down on the ground as if they trained soldiers fighting for the U.S. Marines in a war, on the ground, and the teacher telling them, stay still, and the children are so comfortable with bullets that if you all go back and look at that video, imagine children normalize gunshot, you know. Gunshot is a scary thing. Little babies lying down while gunshots ringing out all around them. And the Minister of Napping, the Minister of Sleep, the Minister of Sativa, the Pomsite Rasta, Fitzgerald, Etelbert, Duncy, racist Hines, says, nah, man, them was safe, man. The bullets was far. When we did the science and showed you that an AR-15 could kill somebody from 560 meters away, could rip apart an adult, far less for a little baby that's not even fully developed. But hear this one now. Trauma for toddlers. Toddler. What's the description of a toddler? 1.5 to 3 years old, right? A toddler. They toddle. They can't even walk properly. They're looking cute. Their jeans so fat because the pamper full of wee-wee. Toddler. Trauma for toddlers as bandits rob daycare owner at gunpoint. Police officers are searching for 2 men who robbed the owner of a daycare in Arangua, San Juan, in front of her children on Tuesday. Speaking with Guardian Media yesterday, the owner, who did not want a name on that daycare to be mentioned. Imagine that. She don't want a name to be mentioned because they will feel you're bad talking the PNM. Because once you say that something is not right, you're ill-speaking your country or the PNM. The PNM is not the country. Father Gordon, PNM and Rowley, no matter how friendly you are, no matter how much novena you say with them, no matter if you go and try to take the evil out of Rowley with an exorcism, Father Gordon, or if you go Lekoto and try to get that evil obia out of Rowley, Rowley is not the country. Rowley is the PNM. The PNM is evil and sickening and has this entire country afraid to even speak up, afraid to say what is right and what is wrong. But this has to be wrong. Gunmen running to rob a teacher while she's teaching our babies. And you have a minister of national security who I have to applaud if he stay awake while he talking. The man has fallen asleep making a speech because the grade so high. And he talking and bad talking people. FAO. 11th consecutive month of global food declines. Yes, all you're in shock, eh? The whole world, food prices for the last 11 months going down. Trinidad and Tobago, it's still going up. Why? Because we have PNM. The whole world so celebrating because they don't have PNM. So their money getting bigger because the prices coming down. And we in Trinidad and Tobago suffering under the yoke of the PNM stupidity and incompetence. Elections have consequences. Here the mayor of San Fernando, anytime you want to laugh and you want to realize how ridiculous the PNM is, and to vote for PNM, you need to watch yourself in the mirror and say, hey, let me check myself, boy, something wrong with me. Because if you could vote for a man like Junior Regrello, the mayor of San Fernando, the bareback man, the waiver, the man who buffing homeless, buffing people, who feeding the homeless and calling the homeless pests, even though it's the PNM who put in more people homeless every single day. Here the mayor of San Fernando. But they might throw him out the PNM now, because the PNM was telling you, listen, we are in charge, things are going good, the country is booming, we are doing well, the global shocks are affecting us, but we are managing well, so says the PNM, while everything shatter, right? But here, Junior Regrello, the bands were notably for Carnival in South. The bands were notably smaller and spectators were fewer in numbers. Regrello said, while there was mention on the economics, the lack of promotion and marketing and quality of the mass, the impact of COVID-19 was being discussed. Regrello blaming COVID-19 for the bus mass down in South. Not the government, not the marketing, not the lack of investment, not the creativity, not the planning, not the economics, nothing like that. He blaming COVID. We had a COVID fair and a scare. There are those who did not come out of the house because of COVID-19. Some people got COVID 3 and 4 times. No, Regrello, no. There's only one man, and one man alone get COVID 4 and 5 times, and his wife ain't get it yet. That Rowley, that your boss, that is your bald-head, heartless clown. Don't come and ball COVID fair and people get it 4 and 5 times. People was out. People was fetting. People was wanting to dance to the soca. But the Carnival was not a solid investment. There was no marketing, no foreign investment, no soca monarch, no ability to show the Carnival to the world, no money for vendors. 80% of fets bus because promoters couldn't make. Police extorting even school fet. Fatima had to pay $42,690 for police for a fet that in 20 years they never even had one fight, far less for robbery or anything. And you are talking about the Carnival, but Regrello blaming the bad mass, the no economics, the no money spent, the poor calypso tents, the poor participation, the lack of money making and spin-offs on COVID-19. Regrello, you real good boy. He said, some people have gotten that 3 or 4 times. We have all these issues that would have impacted on playing mass. He said it also affected the turnout of spectators, adding, COVID played a critical role in the impact of Carnival in a negative way this year. We don't want to admit it. We don't want to accept it. But COVID did play a part. No, Regrello, no. It's PNM. It's your NCC. It's your PNM Gypsy. Even when PNM Gypsy had to sing in an extempo, I am a proud PNM. And it's probably the first time that Gypsy get a cocktail in a extempo. So blind the PNM is. That man forced it to come out his mouth. I am a proud PNM, and Brian London bossy tail. You understand? Poor Gypsy. His ship sink. Downtown, downturn. What is this? This is the guardian of Rowley's K-Pax. The guardian of the PNM. The Guardian newspaper talking about downturn. Well, I had to read this. for sale rent signs seen around the capital. Doma head, Gregory Aboud are here telling man that people like me, Anil, feel you is a PNM, but you're not really a PNM, and why Anil attacking you so? Well, I'm not attacking you. When you talk, Greggy, when you talk like a PNM. You don't put blame where blame belongs. You always give the Prime Minister, Ministry of National Security, the government a free pass. Anytime they do rubbish, you always find a way to not blame them. So, Gregory, if the cap fit, Bob Marley say, let them wear it, okay. Doma head says, empty spaces, ominous sign. All right. Gregory song, let me go to Gregory then. Gregory Aboud, president of the Downtown Owners and Merchants Association, Gregory Aboud said, the increasing number of empty spaces in the city was an ominous sign. Okay, Gregory, you're singing good. Singing impartial, factual, you're giving it us real. Okay, Gregory. Those that understand business, those that understand urban development, immediately recognize that you cannot have a city without active business to provide for needs and to attract people to the commercial center. Gregory, you know your thing, boy. Aboud, who felt not enough was being done to address the apparent exodus of business from the capital. Gregory said, unfortunately, that the decision makers not only do not understand our needs, but they don't care about our needs. And that is why there are so many vacancies in so many buildings. And may I respectfully say, point out, because time is so short now for the city of Port of Spain, that some of those vacancies are opposite City Hall. They can see the unoccupied buildings and the for sale signs on the buildings, and it seems to bring no response from them. Gregory, I might be wrong. Maybe, Gregory Aboud, you are not a PNM because you have stated the facts. The economic devastation of Port of Spain began before COVID. The breakdown in the economy has left Port of Spain like a ghost town before COVID. The lack of care of the PNM mayor, the PNM corporation, city, Port of Spain City Corporation, the PNM MP Port of Spain South, the PNM Prime Minister, the PNM Cabinet, the PNM economic policies. They are not listening to you and your needs for downtown Port of Spain. And Gregory, I might have to apologize here tonight. Let me continue. Gregory Aboud said the neglect of the city had been an issue across several governments. Oh, Gregory, the Balisade juice just shot out of your tongue, didn't it? Gregory, how has it spanned all governments? Gregory, the city of Port of Spain is run by the Port of Spain City Corporation, who then selects the mayor. And all decisions in Port of Spain are made and controlled by the Port of Spain City Corporation. Gregory, since 1956, please tell me one time that the Port of Spain City Corporation was not PNM. You see all my people older than me, they watch it. Gregory, so how you blaming others? How you blaming NEF? How you blaming UNC? How you blaming partnership? Gregory, it's the PNM controls Port of Spain. Gregory, why you had to throw in the neglect of the city had been an issue across several governments? No, Gregory. PNM, PNM, and PNM. And on top of that, Gregory, in 2010 to 2015, when there was economic improvement, growth in the economy, upwards of 6.1% in 2013 into 2014, when 55,000 jobs were created, when the crime situation was much less than it is now in Port of Spain, and people were free to walk, when there was a higher occupancy in Port of Spain, 80% higher than it is now, when the economy was churning, when reserves were being made, when US dollars were available to all and sundry. That was Kamala. So sing it, Gregory. Be fair, Gregory. You want to buff me for calling you a PNM. You state all the facts. And then you don't staple it on the chest where it belongs, on the balize, the PNM, Gregory, because you are a PNM, Gregory. Because if you were saying all of this, you would have been able to say that under Kamala, let me help you, under Kamala, the economy was better, Port of Spain was better, your sales were better, you were making more profits, the taxes you paid to the government was better because your revenue had increased. Gregory, there were more people, there were more buildings rent, people were renting and there was more competition, there was more life in the city, there were less homeless people sleeping there at night, there was less crime. It was better under Kamala. But you come and say the issue spans everybody. So the situation is horrendous, terrible. The PNM ignoring you, but UNC bad too. Gregory, I thought I would have to apologize, but no, Gregs. Your PNM balize juice is showing, shining through your shiny forehead, and every time you speak. And my partner just called me your friend, you know. He said, Anil, don't be too harsh on him now. I have to be harsh on you, Gregory, because you claim to be a patriot. And some things you are. I see you at any football game Trinidad and Tobago play. Even in the early rounds when there are only 500 people, of which I will be one sitting down there watching the game. I see you, Gregory. So that's good. You love your team. You're not a bandwagonist. You love your country. But somehow you love PNM because your brain has stopped short, Gregory. So I didn't plan to go long on you, Gregory, but hard luck. So don't tell your partner and them how I just call you PNM. I'm calling you PNM because you're talking nonsense. The PNM in charge of the Port of Spain City Corporation, the city, what you UNC do? Kangaloo to be sworn in March 20th. All you start to count down, you know. Start to count down to the day your democracy dead. Kangaloo, Rowley's acolyte, Rowley girl, Rowley's PNM, Rowley and Rice, Balize and Rice. The 2 times she acted as president, she fired Jawala, and then she proclaimed a piece of the data protection to make sure PNM property tax come down on all you. That going in Balize house. That Balize house going in president's house. Next to the Balize house that they cannot account for. All you count down March 20th. Democracy dead in Trinidad and Tobago. Are you all going to fight to take it back? Or does the country belong to PNM? It does. So Kangaloo could do what she wants. She could appoint EBC chair people. She could appoint Police Service Commission. She could appoint integrity commissioners. She could appoint the data protection, the man who could come and check all your data. When the revenue authority come and they want to come in your taxes and take your land and so on, she could appoint. So PNM could appoint and pressure all you. Go ahead. I wish all you the best. RIC, no need to pass on costs. Hey, this PNM RIC. The RIC is supposed to be independent. The RIC saying that they're consulting to hear your views. And if they hear you, the people, and let me tell you so far in the consultations, 99.999999 recurring, people say, no increase. We can't take the pressure. We have no money. Food price inflation, medicine inflation, tire busting. We can't afford it. We can't send our children to school. We cannot take that jamming now. Property tax coming. We have no money. The middle class decimated. Poverty increasing. People below the poverty line gone up from 16.7% under Kamala in September 2015 to 32% in Trinidad and Tobago. And the RIC says to you, who say we don't want to pay, we cannot, hear them. No need to pass on costs. So the RIC now under the PNM, them dictating the laissez-faire economy, the market forces, in a democratic country with a John Smith free economy. What that means is businessmen have their costs. Importation, US going up now, so that's a higher cost. They have to buy US on the black market because they can't get more than $50. Their limit's gone down from $10,000 on the credit card down to $2,000. So they had to pass on that to the consumer. How do you make profit? You take all of your costs, your operating costs, your running costs, your fixed costs, and you divide it up among your stock that you're selling, put your markup, and sell to the customer. So if your T&Tech rates go up, a businessman will say, that is now an increased operating cost. I have to put that onto all of my goods. All of my goods will go up. The RIC saying, economic theory has to cease. You do not have to pass on that to the customer. Does that make sense? Or they're writing you and reading a fairy tale for you? So the RIC say, nah, we go raise it. But businessmen, all you don't have to increase your price. Really? Make it make sense. Father Gordon, real place or not? Here the RIC again. The RIC vows to monitor T&Tech. So here what Mr. Glenn can say. When he charge all you more, when all you have to pay more for a bad service, or we have more outages now than 1978. Some of you who young won't remember that, ask your mother them, right? Trinidad and Tobago now is worse than 1978. The T&Tech is providing worse service than in the last 40 years. The RIC did not monitor T&Tech. Mr. Glenn Khan is telling you, you must pay more for terrible service, and once you pay more, he will then watch and monitor T&Tech. All you feel like making that up? He said the RIC was concerned about the reliability of the country's electricity supply. And so all its analyses were to determine the level of revenue T&Tech needed to ensure people get efficient service. How do we plan to ensure, says Glenn Khan, that T&Tech complies with all these things? We are going to monitor them more closely, sometimes quarterly, annually, and we're going to ask them to communicate with us a lot more frequently to advise you on various aspects of their business. He's going to do all that once you done pay more. So, Mr. Glenn Khan, why you couldn't do that all the time? You wasn't doing your work. Well, hand back your all the money they pay and resign. He continued. Khan said, however, and listen to this part, because the English language is a beautiful thing, you know. I mean, the PNM don't understand that because them just ball about we going and flip you and all kind of thing, right? Khan said, the determination of final rates would be in April, and T&Tech would then have 2 weeks to inform customers of the new rates. I thought the consultation was to determine from hearing from the people if there is going to be a rate increase or not, or what's going to happen, and the RIC will take all of your concerns on board. Hear what he say? By April, we're going to tell all you, T&Tech, what is the rate, sir? And there are 2 weeks to tell all you how much more you have to pay. Wow. Let me read it again. You know. Let's see what the man say. And then let's say, hey, Glenn Khan. The determination of final rates would be in April. We in March. They may even consult with 10% of the country. They only went Center of Excellence, Arima, Tobago, Port of Spain. They may hit Grand Bazaar and gone down so yet. But them saying the final rates is April and we in March. And hear what he say. The determination of final rates would be in April, and T&Tech would then have 2 weeks to inform customers of the new rates. Who says a new rate? I thought all the people telling you leave the rate how it is. But you see how they lie? So all you're talking, no, leave the rate, give them. I even told them, but you all looked at 2015 CSO statistics and determined whether people could afford to pay increased rates in 2022, 2023 based on 2015. But 2015 had Kamla, 2015 had UNC, 2015 had energy sector. Kevin Ramnaran, it had job creation, it had smoother road, it had business, it had trade and industry, it had agricultural policy, it had culture, it had sport, it had education with Tim Gopi Singh. 2015 is not 2022, 2023 under the PNM. And when I explained that to them, he looked confused. But I see that he's not an honest man. I told him he looked like an honest man of morals and ethics, a man with heart and soul. But clearly he's not. Because there can be no argument better than that one I put. That therefore you made your assumptions and your conclusions based on wrong information. And if you look at the 2022 CSO, 2023 that they're doing now, you will see the middle class is decimated. You will see the poverty rate has increased. You will see the people cannot afford another increase as their taxes are increasing. They have removed, they put back VAT on food. The food price inflation going up even though global prices going down. People are under pressure. You remove, the government remove the fuel subsidy. The PNM has suffered people. People have no extra money. But you make a decision on what people could afford on when Kamla was there. Well, here how we solve the problem. Pull back Kamla. You see? That's how you solve it. Pull back Kamla. Because all they like to use how people was living when Kamla was Prime Minister. To then suffer them with this heartless dunce called Rowley, who has killed everything in the economy except the goat he get from the man down so. WASA's moving goalposts. Now they come in to increase the rate with WASA too, eh? But here the Express. The Express who gave us Asha Javid. The Express who prints that the UNC have a faction because 4 man come in at 3,000 people Congress and say, oh God, we don't like Kamla. But the PNM don't have a faction. When a sitting Prime Minister could only muster 8,000 votes in 3 days out of 124,000. Them don't have no faction. Them smooth. And the Express. Here, but here the Express now. WASA's moving goalposts. The planned transformation of the Water and Sewerage Authority, WASA, has become a moving goalpost with the government yet to hit any of its promised targets. So if they hit none of their targets, Express. If they are terrible in crime, if they are terrible in Nelson Gate, if they're terrible with an AG who is lying more, if they collapse in case, if the DPP office have no lawyers, if the judiciary underserved and understaffed, if the children authority operating at 25%, if the road bad, if water bad, if Tech bad, if school violence bad, if education bad, SCA is the worst, CAPE is the worst, we can't get no scholarship, we get in bursary, the country in a mess, crime out of hand, narcolepsy, sleeping, Minister Hines can't do nothing. How come, Express, you ain't put a headline, Rowley, go now, please? Let's continue the Express, you know. It's amazing to read these people. Word on the latest miss came from WASA Chairman Ravindra Nanga. In explaining to the Express business the delay in filling the utilities top management position, which has been vacant since Sherland Shepherd. Well, Shepherd, it's good for you. You lie to try to protect the PNM in the JSC when you was attacking the Salcott and they was lying. And you see how they gone quiet now because the lies came out. You defend them and they bust your throat. Sherland Shepherd, it's good for you. That is what PNMers do. But they're supposed to replace him 2 months after he promised the appointment of a new CEO. Chairman Nanga is saying the recruitment exercise is still underway with no fixed deadline and no guarantee of a suitable candidate will be found. What is a suitable candidate to the PNM? One who says, yes, sir, yes, PNM, whatever you say, Rowley, please tell me. Marvin Gonzalez, you go and take a little measurement with Ecliffe Eli again. You go and measure for more suit on the inseam. Okay, Minister, man, you get more suit. I know you like to get our measurement. Let Ecliffe take it slow, right? You understand? Okay. You don't study the people water. You study man, right? You go ahead. You go, Rowley put you there because you know nothing about WASA and people suffering. But you know what they want? They want a suitable person. You know what is a suitable person? A person who knows nothing and just does exactly what Rowley says. That is a suitable person to the PNM. While an acting CEO is in place, it would appear that WASA is effectively under board management. Exactly. WASA is under board management. The board is appointed by Rowley. It's the PNM. And they're happy with it just like that. Just because they don't want independent institutions, they don't want oversight, they don't want procurement legislation, they don't want integrity commission, they don't want a commissioner of police who is independent, because the first set of people to get locked up is in the cabinet. Filling the vacancy at the top is not the only or even the most important missed target. The more substantial one is WASA's transformation. 7 months ago, on July 28, 2022, Public Utilities Minister Marvin Gonzalez came out of a cabinet meeting and announced that cabinet had, as of that day, granted WASA the approval to implement its transformation and restructuring process. And nothing has been done 7 months later. That is PNM incompetence. And all you want to talk about dragon gas, you better go in National One, find back National One, forget movie tongue, and go and see Dragon Karate. Go and find a movie with Sensei and the master, the drunken master or the monkey. Remember you used to go and see all of them monkey style and thing? The die where you go see, you go quicker see that in Dragon Dance than Dragon Gas, because they're mamagaing people. Chamber boss, hiring blindly as TTPS character system is done. You know long Jayanti, Lakshmi, they all said that. What you know is the character system, you're supposed to go to the police and get a certificate of good character. That system has been done for over 10 months now. So people now saying the chamber, now saying, hey, the chamber. Some businesses are hiring blindly, allowing criminals into their organizations. Oh God, the PNM hiring blindly, boy. That's what's happening. Don't up to the cabinet and all, you don't get no certificate of character. Their organization as the TNT Police Services issuance of certificates of character continues to be on hold. The TTPS informed the public on February 14 that it could not facilitate the certificate of good character applications. Could you believe that? Anything working in this country, all you let me know, you know. Type it in there, share the live and type it in. Justice system could collapse, says Gaspard. Earlier, when I tell you they set you up, girl, earlier, you're taking basket. You come and say murder will be solved by June. Earlier, crime cannot be solved by enforcement alone, earlier. Even if you move with brilliance and take the detection rate from 9% up to 99%. If your police start to move and use the technology, if you get the Coast Guard to put diesel that Rowley and them don't buy for them and cover the border and use the scanners in the ports, and you go and you get guns and you monitor the streets and you catch criminals and you apprehend, that still will not solve crime. Because crime needs to be fought in a holistic manner. When you have in Tabakit Composite 17 fights in a day, and the Minister of National Security saying, well, the children trying to boast about how much could fight, and he making light of it while he sits in the chair. And our schools are the breeding ground of another set, a wave and generation of criminals coming out, where parents now fighting with children and school children beating mothers all across Trinidad and Tobago, has happened in Arima just today. Earlier they setting you up. The justice system could collapse. Rowley came and said, when crime was, as compared to now, under much greater control, murder rate was 375 to 415, robberies, rapes, kidnappings, all of these were lower, carjackings, gun crimes, woundings, were all down under Kamala. Not perfect, nobody say perfect, but getting better. Working at it from every aspect, giving opportunities. Education was better, increased gate, tech, VOC, NESC centers, MIC centers, live sport, opportunities for the youth to eat up food and to stop put down the gun, to go and get a trade, to learn welding, to go into underwater deep sea diving, commercial diving, getting into football, basketball, coaching, education, being mentored by national heroes and national captains. While all of that was working, in comes Rowley, the biggest liar in the world, with Emailgate, and you all make him prime minister. And now the country is crying, blood spilling all around. Back under Kamla, the DPP's office had a higher component of lawyers, upwards of 60 to 70% capacity. They are down now, says Mr. Gaspar, the DPP. 58 prosecutors at DPP's office, 129 needed. If the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions does not receive additional staff soon, then it could lead to an inevitable collapse of the criminal justice system. DPP Roger Gaspard, SC, yesterday stressed the shortfall of his office in prosecuting matters and called for the appointment of additional attorneys to his office. This is not the first time he's made the call. He has been making that call for 4 years and it has gotten worse. Why would it get worse? And you see, Gregory Aboud and others, the DPP could only hire more lawyers if the cabinet gives him resources through the Ministry of the Attorney General and Legal Affairs. Without the money, without the allocation, without the PNM cabinet giving him resources, the DPP's hands are tied. The DPP cannot go and have a curricule. The DPP cannot go and raise money. The DPP cannot go and invest in mutual funds to staff his office. Now, what kind of people will want the DPP's office to be understaffed, which would then clog the judicial system, bringing it to a halt? What kind of people will see a legislation pass through Parliament to protect taxpayers' money? This legislation with special majority called the procurement legislation, to make it hard for people to thief. What kind of government will see that, come into the Parliament and the Senate, gut it and weaken it to make it easier for people to thief? How many cabinet ministers, including the Prime Minister, should be or are under investigation for criminal conduct? Camille, where the 143,000 TT cash girl that you lie on an affidavit and say it come from there, the bank say, no, didn't withdraw from here. Where that reach? That reach anywhere yet? If you shut down the judicial system, thwart the resources, make it collapse, where the case go reach? What about Rowley and the Incompetence failure to declare on his integrity in public? And only lock up Pandey because he didn't know his wife had an account. It wasn't corruption they lock up Pandey for, you know. He didn't put it on his form. Rowley didn't put the 568,000 benefit he got from Warner Construction in Innisgate on his form. He didn't put the benefit he negotiated for his daughter in Innisgate also. Also, Rowley put the value of his Innisgate property at 1.2 million, but he paid 33,600 stamp duty, which equates to a value of 1.768 million. So he put false information on his form and signed it. The last time as a Bush lawyer, I checked, they have a real lawyer, Kyle Tackler, but the Bush lawyer, Anil, the last time I checked, if you sign on an integrity form false information, knowingly, you could get charged. What about Foster Cummins and the Venture Credit Union and MTS paying a contract from his wife company into Venture Credit Union who had no contract with MTS, and the money's just magically gone from Venture Credit Union account into Foster Cummins account? 4.4 million, 1.8 million. Where the police reach with that? Where that reach? Is that filed by the DPP office to check to see if it have enough evidence to charge? Oh, the DPP office can't function because They are starved of resources by whom? The cabinet who... Oh, my goodness. It's amazing, isn't it? Is Trinidad and Tobago a real place, Father Gordon? If I say that it is wrong for the DPP's office to be dependent on a cabinet who most of them should be up and down the courts from magistrate to high court, if I say that that is wrong, that the DPP's office being starved of resources is wrong, am I bad talking my country, Father Gordon? Or am I bad talking the PNM? The PNM is not the country, Father Gordon. Check yourself. Did Al-Rawi, look another reason. Did Al-Rawi sell 2 Porsches? But look, we make the express boy. I talked this since Tuesday, no? But we page 18, but at least, listen, an attorney general, thank you, my brother, an attorney general lying and misleading Parliament and issues about the so-called sale or transfer of a Porsche with no check, no money pass, no transfer 5 years later, then the commissioner traffic, the commissioner licensing office saying, well, we don't have any information left or right, we ain't too sure. But then we find out, let me take a sip of water for this, We find out, Archie, that Faris Al-Rawi really had 2 Porsche with the number 84. You see, when he answered in the Parliament, everybody thought it was a slip of the tongue when he said, and I quote from his Hansard, I can tell you that at item 6 here is what is described and filed at the Integrity Commission. Porsche Cayenne PCS 84, in whose name held declarant Faris Al-Rawi, 600,000 proceeds of sale sold, and it is under the item description of assets sold, said Faris. And then he goes on later on. Let us go further, Madam Speaker. It is a matter of record that the Integrity Commission wrote to me on January 29, 2021, and in that they asked me to confirm the sale of that same vehicle, PCY 84. Faris, it's not the same vehicle. You see, everybody thought, because who would believe that an attorney general would be so dishonest? Who would believe that a human being would have 2 Porsche with similar numbers? We don't believe. Who does that? You understand? So we say, all right, well, the man say, maybe it was a slip of the tongue. But the truth is, and my research has shown, that Faris Al-Rawi owned 2 Porsche Cayennes, a black 2010 model, PCS 84, and a brown 2012 model, PCY 84. So Earl Christopher, Integrity Commission, all of you have to go and check now. Because Faris said that the Integrity Commission asked him to confirm the same vehicle, PCY 84, declared to them since 2016. But Integrity Commission explained to the douglAR, because I filling out forms since 2010. If a man declares something, would you all write him and ask him, hey boy, is this PCY 84 the same thing that you declared in 2016? No. What you did, Integrity Commission, I put it to you, is that you saw PCS 84. And when Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC said, what is this thing with Roger K. Walsing, the lawyer for Nelson, who was changing evidence, the legal prostitute, the man who Al-Rawi signed an indemnity with, in overstretching his arm into the sole tenure and remit of the DPP in a criminal matter, causing a case to collapse and the taxpayers now to be in jeopardy of $100 million lawsuit. This same Kewal Singh, this friendship with Al-Rawi, the UNC said, the transfer, there was no transfer. What's going on here? Check it out. Al-Rawi came, pump up his chest with oxygen in his tight suit and said, PCS 84. Oh, it skipped all away. But the douglAR eventually pick up on it and I say, but wait now. Let me check this out. And you know what? It had two Porsche. So therefore, Al-Rawi had to show me 2016 declaration where you sold in January and February 2 Porsche for 600,000. So a total of 1.2 million from sale of assets. PCS 84 and PCY 84 Al-Rawi. You have to show me that. Don't come and play games. Because no integrity commission go write you and say, boy, we see you declare that thing. They just want to double check that it was that you declare. That's not a question they ask. They would not do that. But if you had 2 Porsche, if you saw something so wrong with you that you need to have the same number on a car, you know what kind of thing that is, eh? Some kind of OCD in tight pants. Maybe that does happen when your pants too tight for too long and you have to say, hey guys, PCS 84 and PCY 84. So Earl Christopher, you have to go and check. You have to get production audit warrant for Faris account. You have to see 2 deposits of 600,000. One from Kewal Singh on January 15th, 2016, and another one in early January. They say the owner of the Black Porsche now is a Zahir Muhammad. I don't know if it was him who bought it in 2016, because somebody else could have sold it after, or any other citizen. And you also have to ask Faris, how come you sell a 2010 Porsche for 600,000 and a 2012 Porsche for the same 600,000? The laws of business, depreciation, value, profit, them thing don't work by you. And what is this? What's this you have for just 600,000? Not 600,000 and $10.22. Both of them you sell for exact 6. Faris, the story need more people, tight pants. Come back in the parliament. Did you mislead parliament? Look the hand side here. So Express, I must commend you. The douglAR make a page 18, but it's not about me. It's about a former attorney general who appears to have misled parliament, lied to the population, not correctly filled out his forms, and requires further investigation of a criminal nature by the Integrity Commission and the police, Earl Christopher. Now, moving right along. UNC MP takes up residents' fight. My people, the UNC told you in Lavanti, they're coming for the hill. They're coming to move out all the poor people. And Rowley, they didn't want Manning because Manning was not representing the elites of Rowley, who Rowley loves good enough. So they put Rowley there because they want the hill. Rowley is the man who, when he was Minister of Integrated Planning and Development in 2003, he gave outline approval for John Rahal, his friend, his land developer, down in Shorelands Day, to increase the value of his land, which had a codicil from 1964. Over 8 different applications over the years were made to go up in the sky. Everybody was denied. But Keith Christopher Rowley, when John Rahal's son Joseph Rahal joined with Woodgill, Jeffrey Gillen, and Woodruff in August 2003, as John Rahal's son joined, Keith Rowley in November 2003, just 3 months later, signed an outline approval for them to go up in the sky, increasing the value of their land from $10 million to $850 million. That is the Keith Christopher Rowley. Patrick Manning then moved him in December 2003 from planning to housing, where he then took Al-Rawi, put him on a board. He then went on with his friend John Rahal, land again, and went and built Greenvale, when the Ministry of Planning and Development, Camille Baldhead Regis, said, no, that's a floodplain. That's agricultural land. Do not build houses. Rowley, Noel Garcia, Al-Rawi on the board went ahead and built Greenvale, and some all you nearly drunk and dead the other day. That is Keith Rowley, who you all elected as Prime Minister. So now they come in for the hills. Lavanti, you may never vote for BLO. My brother Amit and them councillors say, Anil, don't say that. People fed up with the PNM. I don't know, Lavanti. I can't understand. I just get 26 vote day. And Fitzgerald Etelbert run from Tutu Water, Hines, Pomsite, Sleepy. He get 10,000. I can't understand it. My brain is too logical to understand that a Pomsite Rasta who somehow miraculously builds a palace in Maraval by people of a lighter hue. The people in Lavanti who sucking in and smelling labas and sewer, gun bullets and nothing for their children, no opportunities. You give he 10,000 votes. You want me to explain that? I cannot. It's illogical. I can't do it. But you don't have to vote for the UNC. You don't have to vote for me. But we try to warn you. They come in for your land. They're going to move you out. And you will never come back. Because Rowley's boys want your land. They're going to get it cheap, cheap, cheap. And it's going to go up, up, up. And you will say, bye, 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 as they look over Port of Spain from your hill of Lavanti. Terror in Wallerfield. Death threats for farmers as land grab gets violent. Death threats for farmers in violent land grab. A group of men running amok in Wallerfield farming community at 100 Acres Road. Farmers say the men who recently moved into the district launched a reign of terror with threats, intimidation, and violence. That's what's going on in the PNM's country. Killed near newborns. Young father among two shot dead in Mount Hope. In the constituency of St. Joseph, with convent girl who has gone quiet, convent girl. The man who, when his whole neighborhood flood out, fix up his own house and flood out his own neighbors, when he gate fall down, bringing in a truck. Would not even offer the old people in the home next to him 3 houses down. Would not even check and see if they're all right. Not even a box of food. While the UNC councillors working without resources for days in, days out. Boat in, boat out. Food in, food out. Water in, water out. Convent girl see about your own place with CPEP workers. Bring a truck to pick up your own gate. And would not even tell his neighbors, good morning. That's who you all vote for, really? Killed near the newborns. Another girl executed. Miss Ram Kisoon, 26-year-old mother of 3 in St. Augustine. Ram Kisoon, made to kneel down and executed in PNM country. Murder madness in Mova. What alliteration, boy. Murder madness in Mova. We have so much murder thing. We waxing poetic. Media trying to be poetic. To give we alliteration in a headline of death, fear, and bloodshed. Residents gripped by fear as gunmen take over Mova. Mayhem and madness. That's how residents of Mova have described the recent upsurge in gun violence and killings in their community. A compilation by Sunday Guardian showed that in the last 11 months there were 29 killings in Mova. A 14-year-old boy was among those killed, and there were 3 double murders, 4 police-related killings. In a shooting spree in the area last year, innocent children, women, and the elderly became collateral damage. There were other random shootings in the area where the people were injured, but no one was killed. The constant gunfire and murders have left people in the Mova area gripped by fear. But Mova is PNM. PNM is Mova. PNM is the government. 8 years, all the resources, $410 billion, and nothing for you, nothing for the youths. Guns passing in and out. When I go fishing, I show all you, they would not even buy diesel for the vessels to patrol. No air guard. The last 3 pilots quit. No helicopter, no radar, no patrols, no roadblocks, no border protection, no scanners, guns coming in to kill innocent people. And moreover, it's madness. But color election, PNM, 10,663 votes. Make it make sense. Earlier come to say drop in murders by June. Fitzgerald et Albert Hines, hear what he say. He support Earlier plan. He's the Minister of National Security. He said, my job is not to keep all this safe. It's not to come with no plan. I just to give them what they want. Really? How come all other ministers of national security were in charge of formulating plan, guiding the police, giving resources, making sure assets are there, coming up with proposals to protect the people and so on? But now the PNM, the media says it's okay. At Albert, we know you're dotish. We know you're dense. One editorial even called at Albert dense. Dense is a bigger level of dense, you know. Dense is just stupid, but dense is all in your being. You're dense all inside, all your cells. You're dotish all in your toe. You understand? That's what they call him, dense. And he come now, here Hines. Well, Earlier girl, I like your plan. Earlier they setting you up because nothing ain't go change. Because you can't fight crime, so you have to fight crime from every single avenue, of which the government controls all those ministries necessary to put investment to impact the crime situation. So Earlier, you go on there to take basket, you get excited in the bright lights of a joint select committee live on TV, and you set up yourself, and them helping you set up yourself to blame you Earlier in June when murders. By June, 50 a month, how much? We go reach 300 by June Earlier. Here the Guardian. When Guardian setting you up, Guardian is, you know Earlier, Guardian is Rowley and Rice. Guardian Media Limited, right? They get take a losing candidate from Sawa, sweeping broom with a PNM, that skinny man JW, though him at 2O level to rub together, put you on the morning brew for all you to drink Balisay juice and telling me about the independent and so on. It's Guardian Media Limited, is PNM and Rice. Hear them. Cop must implement effective crime. And they go on to say, Earlier, you have to, Earlier, not PNM, you know, not Rowley, you know, not Small Pin, not Hines, Earlier, poor Earlier. And Earlier, you letting them set you up? Okay, girl. Okay. Look at next one. Hopeful. Talking about Earlier plan. Guardian again. Hopeful. But seeing is believing. Now, you think the Guardian don't know what I just said? That Earlier cannot impact crime by herself. No police could do that. It takes Ministry of Sport, Culture, Education, Tertiary Education, Job Creation, Business, Trade and Industry, Energy Sector. It takes all hands on deck. Social development, go down the board. Not Earlier. But them come to say, Earlier says so by June. All right, Earlier, but seeing is believing. So when they don't happen, you know what they go say, Earlier? Earlier, you failed. Not Hines, you know. Hines will sleep from now till June, and they go leave Edie. Look, Earlier again. Don't say your boy douglAR didn't warn you. When PNM Roy Mitchell start to say, high hopes pinned on cop Earlier. Yes, Earlier, the PNM pinning all their hopes on you. You fighting an impossible task. You have zero possibility of success because crime cannot be fought by police alone. You require the government, the cabinet, the ministers, the investment, the people. You need a plan. When Roy Mitchell come to tell you Earlier, high hopes, they hear what you talk good. They pelting everything on you to sink you. Well, boy, we have a new shaggy boy. Andrew Gabriel, boy, my brother. Say it wasn't me. Okay, Andrew Gabriel. But all you're trying to conflagrate email gate with an article that Mark Bassan, welcome, boy, you wake back up, boy. Me know what happened. They move you from Answer McCall, Guardian Media, and like you get back your ability to investigate. All right, Mark Bassan. But Andrew Gabriel says, it's not me and no email gate, and it's not me and nobody. He said here, when the Express contacted him and so on, senior investigator, the Organized Crime Corruption Reporting Project, OCCRP, South Africa-based Khadija Sharif, with whom journalist Mark Bassant had worked on the Sunday Express story, contacted Gabriel in Trinidad last Friday, informing him that his name had come up as a client of Hanan, allegedly connected to Emailgate in 2013. Now, I don't know, you see the report. Listen, Emailgate is a specific thing. Emailgate is a set of lies typed up on a piece of paper and handed to Rowley by someone, or typed up by Rowley and someone. That were not emails. They didn't go in no cloud. They did not even have enough characters to become emails. Emailgate is a concocted, made-up fantasy on paper brought to the parliament by the #1 parliamentary liar in the Commonwealth, Keith Christopher Nasty Stinking Liar Rowley. That's this. Now what the report in the Express is speaking about has nothing to do with this. What they are speaking about is worse. It is actual technology being utilized in Trinidad and Tobago to hack into real emails, information, messages of a sitting prime minister. Two totally separate things. Now, Andrew Gabriel says it's not he. So all right, it's not he. All you find out who it was. Because the man, the Israeli, say it's somebody in Trinidad, and it wasn't the UNC. It was to get into the emails of the UNC Prime Minister, Kamla Prasad Bisesa. So Gabriel said, not me at all, right? Let me read it. They informed him that his name had come up as a client of Hanan, allegedly connected to Emailgate in 2013. He responded, I have no idea regarding what you are talking about. I have never heard of that company or that name. Never heard of that name. Sharif further asked Gabriel if he was certain that he had not heard about the Israeli-based organization run by Hanan. And Gabriel responded, never. Okay. Me I know. I don't know. Sahara does, excuse me. But what I could ask though, is what the man call your name for? It have all kind of name in Trinidad. It have Anil Roberts, it have Amit Suknanan, it have Faris Ali, it have Vishnu Kunkun, it have Archie, it have William Archie, it have Johnny Sukaran, it have Susan Charles, it have Fuad Khan, it have Vasan Barat, the baby. It have all kind of name. How come the man out there call your name? And what you answer, that is all I want. What he picking on you for? Number one. Number two, these things are very serious. There's an Israeli plane that landed here during COVID time. Stuart Smallpin Young must answer. What were they here doing? What were the 50 technicians here doing? Were they working with the government or were they working with private sector? Who got the authority for them? Only Stuart Young could answer because he was the only one who could sign the exemption to come into Trinidad and Tobago during COVID. But don't confuse that with Emailgate. Emailgate, this was not emails. Nobody hacked no way. It didn't go in no cloud. You didn't need a phone to go in or nothing. You didn't need a server. You didn't need nothing. Emailgate was a concoction, a fabrication, a blatant machination by a disgraced, disgusting human being called Keith Rowley. Let me remind you about Emailgate. So Mark Bassant and all you continue that investigation. I want to read my papers. Okay? Andrew Gabriel says, not you, fair enough. But I want to know what the man pick on you for. Because he didn't say Rosalind Gabriel, because she does make masks and play nice costume and thing. She didn't say Militia Gabriel, Johnny Gabriel, Barry Gabriel. What they pick on you for, and you happen to be close to Rowley. Remember, when Rowley was in opposition, Andrew Gabriel, it's only you, Rohan Sinanan, Kusal, and Rowley. The fantastic four clowns was moving around. So what that man pick up, you had to deal with here. I find he picking on you. But let's go through this. Let me see how much time I have, David. Nobody?
40 minutes.
20 minutes, all right. Okay. Let me go through this with all you, because let me tell all you something. I heard some PNM sycophants on radio and thing talking about, all you remember Emailgate? That was such a serious thing. You all remember that? And pretending still in this day and age, 10 years later, that Keith Rowley, and this is his Hansard in detail. And all you could see, I took copious notes of the lying fool called Rowley. And you all elected that prime minister, you know. Let's rewind. There was this thing that you all said was Section 34. That the UN, the People's Partnership, which was an amalgam of parties, got together to bring a law and to proclaim a section in order to get two financiers of one of the five parties out of jail. Now these fellas now, flash forward, 10 years, them out. Case collapse. It was total concoction. Case after case, them men winning, them going and sue everybody because of the PNM allegations, falsehoods, and lies for 18 years. So all your whole Section 34, why all you don't go and march now? Because under the PNM here, men off, men free, case collapse, no evidence. You see the nonsense? But you all want to come and say and push by the media, Section 34. Okay. Then Rowley got some emails, a package. How he got it, I have no idea. And someone who had followed the Section 34 started to concoct an essay and a story and put things that purported to be emails and putting it answering to be ministers of government, the prime minister, the attorney general, the advisor to the Gary Griffith, the advisor, security advisor, and so on. Rowley got this package of things and he had it. He read it. Now in this package of concocted things alluded to government ministers wanting to kill, assassinate a journalist, wanting to tap. Now, Trinidad and Tobago, we don't use the word tap. So whoever was writing this up was watching too much Yankee television, right? But when you read it and you go through it, you will see how stupid it was. But to tap the DPP's office and so on, very serious crimes. You know what Rowley did when he read it? He kept it for 6 months and did not report it to the police. He took it to the president, George Maxwell Richards. Why the hell would you take what you thought? Let's pretend that Rowley thought, right, that those were real. Let's pretend that he's so stupid that he could not see that ANAN@gmail could, all you type in that now, ANAN@gmail.com. Send an email, say, hi, Anan, right? Or send it to somebody, ANAN@gmail. There are not enough characters. It's not an email. It's so stupid. I can't even believe it, right? But a government change, and you all made this jackass the prime minister, the man who talked this nonsense, Emailgate, Keith Rowley. So he went to the president. He didn't go to the fraud squad. He didn't go to the homicide. He didn't go to the commissioner of police. He didn't go to the police station. He made no report. He went to the president. Maxwell Richards, read that thing and pelt it away and say, but this man had to be mad here, take him on. 6 months later, Rowley went to the head now of the Integrity Commission to drink tea and have scones. And then he brought a motion of no confidence in a sitting prime minister. Understand that. an entire day of Parliament set aside for the leader of the opposition and the opposition members to bring a motion of no confidence in a sitting Prime Minister. And he got up to speak, Keith Christopher Rowley. And let me show you, and I can tell you all that Keith Rowley is the worst debater in the history of the Parliament. He's lazy, he's unrehearsed, he has no skill, he's nasty, he's malicious, and he needs Bridget Annette George to protect him. Rowley's the laziest Prime Minister. Rowley don't research nothing. But in this lies, I'm going to read the first part for you, where Rowley researched, or someone researched well for him, to say, yes, I know I'm going to lie, but I must have the right to lie, and I'm going to tell you why. From other jurisdictions, when people knew they were coming to lie, egregious lies, they were allowed so to do. The first 3 pages of this is Rowley knowing that he's coming to lie and setting a platform of why he's going to lie, and why he must be allowed to lie, and why we mustn't shut him down. Right? Mr. Speaker, Keith Christopher Rowley, Monday, May 20th, 2013. Mr. Speaker, I crave your indulgence at the beginning of this presentation to quote 3 statements from some very prominent people in the context of freedom of speech, which seems to be very apt at this point today. I want to quote from Mays in the context of freedom of speech, and it says from Mays, subject to the rules of order in debate, a member may state whatever he thinks in debate, however offensive it may be to the feelings or injurious to the character of individuals, and he is protected by his privilege from any action for libel, and as well as any other questions or molestation. You see the Franco men coward, the mama pool, the worthless wimp wurzel that Rowley is. He had to come in the safety of the precincts of the Parliament, research why he was going to lie, and nobody could do him anything. If he's such a big bad bully, why he didn't come out and read this crap outside? He continued, that's one. He continued, he went on. I also want to quote from Enoch Powell, a very prominent Northern Ireland parliamentarian in the UK, where he said in May 1978, he had this to say on the same subject. It is part of the privilege of the House of Commons and individual members to say in this place not only what they could not say outside without the risk of process, but to be able to say that which they get with grave objection is taken by other honorable members. Unless an honorable member could do that, or if it were possible for his doing or it to be somehow undone, we would have lost our power to serve those who have sent us here. So another example, he's pulling and scratching, knowing that he's coming with concocted lies to desecrate the Parliament. This is Rowley, his third piece of research. And thirdly, Mr. Speaker, I want to quote from one of your colleagues, the Speaker of the House in Australia, Speaker Snedden, who I am sure you are familiar with, and he had this to say. I feel that we do not need to invent any rules whereby a speaker or anybody else should make the judgment as to whether a member should be allowed to proceed with his privileged attack on an individual. It would not be within the capacity of a speaker to make the right judgment because he would not have the facts. He would not know. Therefore, the person raising the matter must bear the consequences himself. But I would not like to see that privilege limited or diminished in any way. All of us can think of not one, but many examples where, if it had not been for the freedom of speech and the attack on an individual in Parliament, crime would have gone undetected and unpunished. Some people who were being seriously disadvantaged by rapacious people would not have been protected had it not been for the freedom and absolute privilege in the chamber. Rowley knew he had lies in his hands. He knew they were not authentic emails. He knew that 29 of the 31 emails he brought did not even qualify to enter the cloud because they only had 4 characters, and you needed a minimum of 5 to actually be an email. On top of that, different emails with different spellings were used by the same person. In some places he said Anan for Anand Ramlogan, A-N-A-N. In other ones he had Anand, A-N-A-N-D. Total nonsense. He says here, Mr. Speaker, 6 months ago, remember this is murder, assassination, and Keith Rowley, if you all want to believe, he believed that it was real, kept this real evidence that someone was going to die, and he stayed quiet, drank his barley seed juice, and waited for the person to die, because he did not report it. He said 6 months ago, or I may say a year ago, certain developments descended, and he goes on and on. But let me tell you something, and I'm asking Erla Christopher this. Erla Christopher, I want you to read the Hansard of Keith Christopher Rowley on Monday, May 20th, 2013, where he went on, he said that he was coming to lie. He made a case of why he should be allowed to lie. And at the end of his contribution, he said that he must pass this on and make it public record to the Commissioner of Police to institute an investigation. Well, if he did that, knowing that it was false, there is a charge called wasting police time, which is when you know you are lying and you make a claim or you make a report or you make it known to the police and the DPP, and police time and resources are spent investigating what you knew to be false. That is called wasting police time, and it's a criminal offense. Keith Rowley went on, and I will read some of the nonsense, some of the language. Any child reading it will know Kamla Prasad Bisesa does not speak like that. She does not curse. She does not write like that. The English that was used, everything, it was such a bad fabrication. And yet somehow, the next day, on Tuesday, 21st, 2013, the Express newspaper did not have a headline saying, Rowley flops, malicious lies, wasted time, disgraceful, nasty, Rowley must resign, Rowley must go, a bag of lies, false information, fake news, fake accusations, nonsense. None of these headlines came up. In fact, the media started to say, even though no expert, not one expert would say that there were emails. They start to call for Kamla phone and Anand phone and Google and all. Nonsense! How Google could find something that never existed. Then Al-Rawi started to say, and our integrity commissioner say, well, it's not whether they were emails or not. You have to investigate the content. Did you all hear that? Is Trinidad and Tobago a real place? So something that does not exist, they want to investigate the contents of that which does not exist. Look at Rowley. Rowley says there is an email from, and here it is, KAMLAB1. Everybody knows when Kamla Prasad Bisesa was Prime Minister up to now, it's Kamla PB1 or some kind of thing. But she definitely never had an email called Kamlab 1 at gmail.com to Anan, ANAN, at gmail.com. This is in the Hansard of your parliament, brought to you all by the now Prime Minister. Do not confuse email gate. with the express article and expose on a businessman in Trinidad paying Israeli technology to to illegally go into the legitimate emails of Kamla Prasad Bisesa, the Prime Minister, and other cabinet ministers. That is a separate, desperate, criminal attempt to invade the privacy and to extract information to help Rowley cheat an election. That's a different thing. This email, again, this had no email. This didn't require no hacking. It didn't require no Pegasus. It didn't require Pegasus friend because they did not exist. So here this one from an email that does not exist, camlab1 to anan, A-N-A-N at Gmail. And he's saying, and given time and thing, this was sent on 11:38 on September. Money is owed. And the email reads, Mr. Speaker, I take no ownership of this, says Rowley. You see? Look, I take ownership of this. Keith Rowley, when you were a teacher in 1969, you used your power position and position of trust to coerce and have a girl of school age succumb to your nastiness, and you had sex with her and you impregnated her and produced a son called Gat Alain. I take ownership of that. You understand? I take ownership of this. Keith Rowley, when you were Minister of Integrated Planning and Development, you signed an outline approval when John Rahal's son joined Woodgill Limited in August 2003. You signed in November 2003 outline approval for them to go up in the sky, increasing the value of the asset tenfold, 20-fold, from 10 million to 850 million. I take ownership of that. Keith Christopher Rowley, you failed to declare in your integrity form your benefit of $568,000 on an Inez Gate property that you purchased. And by failing to declare that, there should be a criminal investigation and criminal charges laid against you, because the law states that any person in public office must declare any benefit accrued from any citizen or group. I take ownership of that. Keith Christopher Rowley, you have gotten COVID 4 times. If your wife was a primary contact of yours, she would have get it 4 times too. She ain't get it. It means she's sleeping somewhere else. Keith Rowley. Sumena, send your pre-action protocol. I take ownership of that. Keith Christopher Nasty Lion Rowley. But you see, you all voted for him to be a prime minister. This was 2013. 10 years later, you are in a mess. The country is in a mess. You have no jobs. They're taxing you. They're changing and proclaiming laws to ensure property taxes come in. Rowley put in his neophyte, acolyte, in President's house on March 20th. You are suffering. You are fearful. Crime is out of order. The economy is shattered. The roads are the worst ever in our history. You have no water in your tap. Your money cannot stretch. Food price inflation. The entire country education system in shambles. Sport and athletes suffering. Football suffering. The country in a mess. Carnival crash. Culture down. Gate down. Education down. MIC centers closed. NESC centers closed. Corruption high. No procurement, because you all elected a nasty liar called Keith Rowley. Good night. Talk done.